All right, so I'm back, and today we're going to do another rant of the week. And today, what we're going to do by request is somebody wanted me to rank all of the Transformers movies and place them in my favorite to least favorite. So we're going there's really, I believe there's only 6 movies, but I put a seventh on there just because I felt that it kind of qualifies as a movie. And I'll explain to that when I get there. But so there's 7 on my list. So seventh on the list, and I'm gonna try and make this one a quicker rant of the week. Seventh on the list is Age of Extinction. I did a whole rant of the week on Age of Extinction. Actually, I think I've talked about just about all of these at one point or another. But Age of Extinction, I thought was complete garbage. I could not stand that movie, and it has nothing to do with it being a live-action Bay movie. Once you see my the rest of my list, you'll understand that I really did enjoy some of those Bay movies. Despite their flaws. But Age of Extinction, they butchered Galvatron. They butchered the Dinobots. The Decepticons' transformation was just stupid. I don't comprehend certain points of the plot to the point where it actually took me out of the movie. For example, Kelsey Grammer's character, he hates Transformers and he wants them all to die, and yet he's working with Lockdown. Again, I would love to see that meeting when they're talking and deciding that, you know what, we're going to work together. It's just, none of it made any sense, and it was just utter garbage. I didn't like it. Number 6 is the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Rise of the Predacons or whatever it was called. I hated that movie too. Not as bad as Age of Extinction. It was at least somewhat enjoyable, but it was just, for me, it was just a big recycled plot from the previous seasons. It was a tired plot too. It wasn't like a good plot that was recycled. It just was like, okay, we've already dealt with Unicron. Unicron's back. We've already dealt with the Terracons. The Terracons are back. We've already dealt with the Predacons. Predacons are back. We've already dealt with Optimus being AWOL for most of the thing, and there it goes. He's AWOL again. Just the whole thing was just a rehash after rehash after rehash, and it just ultimately was just like, And I enjoyed season 3 Prime. I enjoyed all the seasons of Prime. I thought they were all really good. 3 was probably the weakest, but I thought the ending of 3 had a very good ending to the series, and I was very satisfied with that end. Of course I wanted to see the show just continue on, but the ending of it was pretty satisfying. The ending of this movie, though, made little to no sense and made you sitting there scratching your head like, so Optimus Prime is dead and Megatron is still out there, but it's not Megatron, it's Rock Megatron, and who has Unicron powers, and Unicron is gone now for good again, and just Alright, number 5, I wrote my list down over here, that's why I keep looking over. Number 5 is Beast Machines. This is the one I know it's not a movie, but if someone were to edit this TV show, it's 2 seasons long, if they were to edit out the intro and ending sequences and cut out the previously on Beast Machines parts, the show really does flow into one long movie. It's one entire plot, and it's not like any of the other Transformers shows where you have those throwaway episodes. You have the plot kind of change throughout. Different schemes or whatever by Megatron, whatever Megatron incarnation it was. But in Beast Machines, it was basically one entire plot, one long story that took 2 seasons to tell. So I thought that was very entertaining. It's not higher on the list because I know it's not a movie, but I do, to this day, I'll say watch that before you watch Age of Extinction or Prime. Just watch that whole series, and then you'll be like, all right, you know what, that wasn't too bad. Hopefully, it was dark, it was gritty, violence. It was the darkest, both visually and plot wise, of all Transformers lore, in my mind. Let's see. Number 4 was the first live action Transformers movie. I thought it did a pretty good job of introducing us to that world that Michael Bay created. You understand what's going on. You know what's going on. Aside from the fight sequences where everything's rolling around and you're just kind of like, wait, what? Who's who? Because, when they're all in bot mode, they all kind of look the same. But ultimately, it was an enjoyable movie for what it was. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that. A lot of people really hated that movie because it was, it was the birth of the Bayformers. But, I'm able to kind of turn off my G1 brain and turn off my Beast Wars brain. G1 where it has better characters and Beast Wars where it has better story arcs. And just enjoy it for what it is as a popcorn action movie of giant robots fighting each other. So I did enjoy that. There wasn't as much robot fighting, that's why it's lower on the list. But again, it did its job of introducing us to this world that they were trying to immerse you into. Number 3 was Revenge of the Fallen. The movie itself, I know a lot of people hated that movie, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun action flick. Like I said, it's not Transformers. It's not the Transformers we grew up with, but it's a new generation Transformers, and it was enjoyable for me. Again, this is all my personal opinion. Take a shot. But it was, for me, it was fun. I enjoyed it for what it was. I did not really care for the Devastator, but at the same time, it's new Devastator, so it's like, it's just a big monster. That was entertaining. No, it's not G1 Devastator, but it was still entertaining. To see, smashing up stuff. Yeah, it died real quick, but, they only have 2 hours to tell the plot, so things, you can build up the characters, and then in the end, you gotta kill them all off. Of course, I have my problems with it. If I really sat there and analyzed the movie, as like a critic, I'd tear that thing apart. But you shut your brain off, you grab a bag of popcorn, you grab your soda, and you just sit back and just watch Transformers fighting Transformers. It's pretty entertaining. And the best part of Revenge of the Fallen, by far, and it's the part that I could never get past whenever I want to put the movie in and watch it, is this is so ridiculous, but when you put the movie in and you actually own the DVD of it, at the beginning, right before the movie starts, there's some trailers. And one of those trailers is the rebooted Star Trek franchise, the first one. And it's such a good trailer that I end up taking Revenge of the Fallen out and put it in Star Trek. I can't remember the last time I actually watched Revenge of the Fallen because of that. It's like every time I put it in, it's like, oh man, Star Trek. It's just like, I want to watch the Star Trek movie. Just talking about it, it's like, I want to watch that trailer again, remember what it was, but I know that if I do that, I'm gonna want to watch Star Trek. And oh man, and to be completely honest, I'd feel the same way if it was a Star Wars trailer. Like, imagine if they just, every now and then on a new movie, they threw a trailer in for like the original Star Wars trilogy, the original version of it before Lucas messed it up. But like a trailer for it just randomly pops up, and you're just sitting there like, yeah, I remember all those scenes, and then you just sit there and like, you know what? I don't really want to watch this. I'm gonna go watch a good movie. uh, so so yeah, that's one of those things I just really enjoyed. um, Number two was Dark of the Moon. I thought that had a lot more action into it. The second half of the whole movie was just that huge long fight. I did enjoy it. There, of course, there's parts of it that make no sense, like Optimus getting caught in cables. You know, dude's got a fire sword that could cut through Transformers, but he can't get out of cables, so he's got to call the wreckers out to come get him. You know, stuff like that makes no sense. They built up Shockwave to be the big bad guy, but in all actuality, he was just a pussy. Kind of literally, too, with his face. But anyway. But again, this goes back into Star Trek. Because... No, I mean, it had Star Trek references in it. There's a scene where they're talking... where two of the mini bots were talking to each other, and they're like, "Oh, I've already seen this episode." And you see Star Trek playing on the background, and I'm like, "I've seen this. This is the one where Spock goes bad." And it's funny because Leonard Nimoy, rest in peace, is playing Sentinel Prime, and of course he's Spock. So it's like it was kind of a giveaway right there, saying like, okay, he's gonna be the bad guy because they're referencing when he became a bad guy. And also Leonard Nimoy played Galvatron in the G1 movie. And, that was fun to kind of recap that, too. So, and it wasn't one of those shoehorned in things. Like, in the Hulk movies, both the Hulk movies, you have Lou Ferrigno, or however you say his name. He pops in, and he's like a security guard, or a pizza delivery, or something like that. I think just security guard in both of them. But, anyway, you see him in those movies, and you just sit there, it's like, oh, that's funny, but it's kind of... takes you out of the movie for a second. Whereas this was more like, honestly, it was more intelligently done because Leonard Nimoy was a major plot point for that movie. And of course, number one is the G1 movie. I mean, seriously. I mean, did anybody really question what I would put on the top? I mean, we have the birth of Galvatron, who's my all-time favorite Decepticon. You got first appearance of Unicron, who is the game changer for the Transformer universe. And I am tired of seeing Unicron show up so early in all the other franchises. I mean, Armada, he was in the first season, or however those work, but I mean, he was there right away. You had, let's see, Transformers Prime first season, Unicron showed up. The original G1 Transformers, even Beast Wars had Unicron appearance, although it wasn't actually Unicron. But Unicron made an appearance there. But it's like he's such a game changer. Like, he alters the entire course of the G1 cartoon with his presence, because him being there just changes everything. I mean, it just completely throws everything off. If Unicron wasn't there in the G1 movie, he wouldn't have created Galvatron, or Scourge, or Cyclonus. And thus, they wouldn't have been able to go hunt down the Autobots and take out Ultra Magnus. Thus, Galvatron wasn't able to steal the Matrix from Ultra Magnus, and Rodimus not getting it, or Hot Rod getting it and turning into Rodimus Prime, who is my all-time favorite Autobot, because of the movie. Yes, season 3 they made him a pussy, and yes, season 3 they made Galvatron batshit crazy, which actually that one enhanced him. But in the movies, or in the original movie, it was perfectly done, because if you just watch the movie and take all accounts for season 3 out, Hot Rod to Rodimus Prime was actually a great character arc, and it was awesome. It was perfectly done. Megatron getting turned into Galvatron was awesome. Again, if Unicron wasn't there, Starscream would have led the Decepticons to straight failure. I'm sorry, all you Starscream fans out there. I'm a huge Starscream fan myself. But let's face facts, he's not the leader of the Decepticons they need. They need a strong, powerful leader. And Starscream, while intelligent, and strong, he wasn't that powerful leader to go toe to toe with Optimus Prime, let alone Optimus Prime's predecessor. Because without Unicron being there, Ultra Magnus would have led the Autobots against Starscream. How well do you think that fight would have gone over? just think of that fight. Starscream versus Ultra Magnus. Somebody's gonna get stomped in the ground, and it's not Ultra Magnus. But yeah, the G1 movie. I mean, there's nothing in that movie that makes me sit here and say, "Oh man, I wish they would have done this differently." I mean, nothing. It was just it's perfectly executed, and it's a perfectly executed toy commercial because that's exactly what it was trying to do. It's they go in there and they kill off all the old characters so that they can bring in new characters. So in other words, the old toys are getting off the shelf, the new toys are coming on the shelf. Let's sell these toys, and it was very well done to do that. It was able to jump. Let's see, it was like 2004 in the year 2005, which was 20 years after the show, after season 2. So it's like 20 years later, they're able to jump that far, and yet we're all still kind of, we're still up to speed with what's going on. It didn't take us long to realize, okay, the Decepticons obviously went back to Cybertron and they took it over. Maybe they got the Energon they needed and left, or maybe they just had to do full-scale retreat, or what have you. But the Decepticons are back on Cybertron. Autobots are pretty much controlling Earth with the humans, and they have the moon bases outside Cybertron preparing for a big war. They didn't sit there and say, okay, here's what's going on. I know they touched on it briefly, but it's like they didn't tell you what happened in those 20 years. They didn't fill you in with all the details and all these plot holes, but they're able to just kind of throw you into this whole new story, and you're just like, okay, let's go. And it worked. So of course it's number one for me. It will always be number one for me. It's one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. Just every genre of movie there is, the G1 movie is near the top of every single list, just because I love that movie so much. So it's like, yes, I said Dark of the Moon is my second favorite movie, but really, in all actuality, my second favorite movie is the G1 movie. My third favorite movie is the G1 movie. I mean, seriously, it's so good. It would take up the entire top 10 list of my favorite G1 moments. I mean, it's just like the birth of, like I said, the birth of Galvatron, the birth of Hot Rod, or Rodimus Prime, the first appearance of Unicron, birth of Cyclonus, birth of Scourge, the first appearance of Ultra Magnus, Cup, RC, Springer, the Quintessons, the Sharkticons, the Alicons. I mean, all of this, creating an entire new lore to set up for season 3, which of course they totally botched. I'm not going to sit here and defend season 3 because they ruined every great aspect of of the movie, with the exception of Galvatron. And even then, they made him so crazy and maniacal that he's attacking his own troops, and it kind of gets to that point of like, well, maybe they could have done that one a little better. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. There's my ranked Transformers movies. I think I went over all the movies, and I own all of them except for Age of Extinction. That's one of those movies I'm kind of like, I know deep down inside I need to buy it just because I'm a completist, but I really don't want to. It just really was not that good of a movie. I'm perfectly fine with only watching it the one time. Not that long ago, I was actually sitting there talking to myself. Maybe I'll watch it again and give it one more shot. So while the movie was getting ready to load on Hulu, I was sitting there looking at my phone. I'm like, you know what? There's everything wrong with video on this movie, so I'm just gonna watch that instead. And that is infinitely more entertaining than the actual movie. And that is so sad. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that channel, the Everything Wrong With movies, um, have to resort to making it a two-part movie because it's so long with everything wrong with. I mean, they were like 20-minute videos, so it's like 40 minutes of everything wrong with Transformers, Age of Extinction. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, that right there was, like I said, more entertaining. Didn't take as much of my time, and just I really could not stand that movie. And it's like, and I'm able to take myself out of that position, of like, okay, these aren't the characters I know and love, and be able to watch the other three movies and be entertained with them. I just can't with Age of Extinction. It's that bad. So yeah. Anyway, there you go. That was the requested rant of the week. Next week, I'm just trying so hard to put together like how to start collecting rant of the week. Camera. And yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be a big one too, so it might end up being in parts. But anyway, that's what the plan is. I'm hoping for next week if I get some time off and start filming. I need to get some big easels and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I'm gonna be doing this. This is gonna be a big one because I'm gonna be sitting there like, okay, these are charts. Where to start. It's gonna be a huge one. But that's for another day. Anyway, what are your thoughts on your favorite Transformer movies? And let's go ahead and just get this out of the way. For all you people that want to bash me for putting Beast Machines on there, feel free, put it in the comments. We'll go over it. We'll go over it next week or at the end of the week, and the Toys for Tots video should be up later tonight. So we can get that ball rolling, and I will have, hopefully, if we get the Scourge completed, the funding on the Scourge completed, we'll be able to look at him at the end of the week. If not, I have a few other reviews that I can crank out. Nothing. I'm going to warn you guys this week. There's not a whole lot that's going to be new and exciting coming on my channel because I don't have anything new and exciting in hand at the moment. So, things like Lita Class Thundercracker, which I've reviewed the Starscream and I reviewed the Jetfire of this mold. He's going to be on the list probably Monday. I also got Legends Thundercracker. Yeah, Legends Thundercracker over there. I've got Armada Starscream Takara version. And I've got some more Cyberjets to look at. And unfortunately this week that's pretty much it. So, I've got a whole shelf of figures to look at some point, but it's just things are just kind of going a little slow financially at the moment. But we'll get through it. We'll review what I have and go from there. So anyway, there you go. What are your guys' thoughts on the ranking? My ranking of the videos or of the movies, and what is your ranking on the movies? So yeah, there you go.